I'd like to begin by outlining the action that we have taken in the aftermath of yesterday's news that two New Zealand citizens returning from the UK to visit their dying parent were allowed to leave a managed isolation facility without a COVID test and then subsequently tested positive. This case represents an unacceptable failure of the system. It should never have happened, and it cannot be repeated. From the beginning, we have taken an extraordinarily cautious approach at the border. That is why we have required every returning New Zealander to go into a facility that we manage. That protocol remains. That is also why we required not one, but two tests to be undertaken of those in facilities. One at day 3 and one at day 12. That should have happened in the cases we learned about yesterday. It did not, and there are no excuses. Our borders and the controls at our borders must be rigorous. They must be disciplined, and they must have the confidence of ministers and all of you, New Zealanders who got us here. This morning, I have called together the operational leads of our quarantined and managed isolation facilities and can share the following changes that I have required. Firstly, I am appointing the Assistant Chief of Defence, Air Commodore Digby Webb, to oversee all quarantine and managed isolation facilities, including the processes around the exit of those who have been in these facilities. Air Commodore Webb will regularly report to ministers. As the Assistant Chief of Defence, he can also seek access to our military's logistics, operational expertise, and, if needed, personnel to assist in the running of the facilities. Second, Air Commodore Webb will undertake a start-to-finish audit of existing systems and written protocols to ensure they are being fully implemented, and will make any changes needed to further strengthen our border defences. Third, the suspension of compassionate exemptions will continue until such time as we can guarantee a disciplined and rigorous system at the border that ministers have confidence in. I know this will be upsetting to some New Zealanders seeking to return home to visit dying relatives and loved ones. However, the risks to our collective efforts to eliminate COVID are simply too great. I cannot allow the gains we have all made to be squandered by processes not being upheld. Throughout COVID-19, there has been pressure from many corners, including the courts, to relax the rules around compassionate exemptions. This case has proven our need for caution. While it may be a hard and unpopular position to take, it is the right one for our country. I do want to stress, though, that the two New Zealanders involved in this case, they have done nothing wrong. It is not their fault that the system failed, and from all accounts, they have followed the health protocols required of them and have not come into contact with anyone since leaving managed isolation other than their parent as per their release plan. This error also doesn't change New Zealand's COVID status. Our definition always assumed there would be cases at the border. That, of course, also doesn't change the fact that our contact tracing and testing has kicked in, and anyone who has in any way come near these individuals on their flight or in their managed isolation facility will be tested as per our protocols. Our efforts to date to beat the virus have been extraordinary. However, there is no room for error, even if it is human error. It is totally unacceptable that procedures we were advised were in place were not. Our job is now to fix that, and that is exactly what I intend to do.